Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video on the Film Fanatic channel. Today we are going to be doing something a little bit more different to what we usually do with our theorizing of mostly Marvel movies. Today we are going to be ranking video game movies. Now obviously the whole point of most video game movies is to reference the game they are basing it off as much as possible, and mostly fan service as well. So take that into account on how and why I'm rating or ranking these movies, because in all honesty, they make these movies for the fans. So let's get right into it. Kicking things off, we have to go with one of the best movies of the year, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now we all know the backstory for Sonic's recent arrival to theaters. Sonic 1 was actually delayed for over a year because of his horrible design that came out initially, what proved to be super laughable, and it ended up resulting into this masterpiece, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The story of this is simply fantastic. It makes a lot of references to the first movie, which is a big plus for people who like storylines like I do. We got to revisit Sonic's relationship with Longclaw, which seemed to be a more mother and son relationship, and he starts to grow and take on the world all by himself after being protected from her for all those years. Sonic's first appearance in this movie was a comedic action scene which really set the tone for what was to come in this comedy. Robotnik and Knuckles make their first appearances when Knuckles visits Dr. Eggman from another planet using one of those teleporting rings, and it results in the pair forming an alliance to take down Sonic and get the main objective of this movie, which is the Master Emerald. Think of it as your Infinity Stones to the Avengers, or a treasure valued at millions to a Nathan Drake. Another huge highlight of this movie was Knuckles' development. He went from someone who obviously picked the wrong side to join Robotnik's team, but then with so many tales of Robotnik using so much dishonor, which Knuckles holds dearly to his heart from the planet that he came from, he obviously went on to choose the right side and joined Sonic and Tails for what was definitely one of the coolest fight scenes we have ever seen on a video game movie. Sonic harnesses the Master Emerald after defeating Dr. Eggman, and it was truly such a beautiful animated scene. And then we obviously see so many more comedic elements come to play with Knuckles and Sonic's dynamic together.
Oh, you gotta try this.
Okay, he's exactly the Sonic you once knew.
And just to top it off, we got an end credit scene showing Shadow, so setting up the third Sonic movie as well to come. If it's anywhere near as good as this one, you know that they have mastered this franchise on the theater side of things. So obviously I'm going to be giving this movie a very high rating out of 10. But why? Because the comedy in this movie, it was just unrivaled. It was fantastic, it was hilarious, and it's probably the perfect movie to watch with family and friends. And also, one thing that I noticed that I loved about this movie is the balance they had between the characters. There was never a moment where you would think, what is he doing, or where is he in this part? They're all in the movie for a really good amount of time, and a time that they deserve. For example, Sonic, there was never a moment where I didn't want him on the screen, or that I wish he was on the screen that he wasn't there. And another thing that I noticed is that the fact that many movies, the main character might drift off and other characters might steal the show. We saw this in Spider-Man No Way Home with Andrew Garfield, or potentially Doctor Strange with Wanda. But in this movie, it was just impossible not to adore and support Sonic. So for this movie, I'm going to be giving it a 9.5 out of 10. The next movie we're going to be rating also came out this year. It is none other than Uncharted. Now, building up to this movie, there was a lot of controversy, predominantly due to the casting, which of course had reasoning, because Tom Holland, who was pretty baby-faced at the time and was coming in playing a character who was notoriously known to be looking a little bit more menacing and a little bit more middle-aged, it was getting a bit confusing. However, we knew that after the plot was leaked of this movie, he was playing a younger version of Nathan Drake, accompanied by Sully, played by Mark Wahlberg. Now, like Sonic, this movie does have its own comedic elements, but not to Sonic's degree. However, the adventure and the story build-up in this movie I found to be great. The pacing, however, was a bit of an issue. Now, when we look at the whole idea of what a video game movie should be, there should be a lot of references to give the fan that slight pride, cheer moment. And in this movie, to be honest, there weren't too many. However, there were some references, for example, the Naughty Dog logo coming up a few times, and also a few scenes recreated from the Uncharted movies. I do think that this movie was very well executed. It did have its own problems, but out of 10, I'm going to be giving it a solid 7 out of 10 scoring. The next project that we are going to be talking about is a series rather than a movie this time, and that is Halo. Now, being one of the people that adored this game when it was out, it was just truly disappointing initially with the plot and the character development in this show. But then it didn't take me a long time to accept that it's okay to drift off the prior books or games or references to at least adapt it to a more television-based audience. A lot of movies or franchises that have initial references tend to go off script just to adapt it and provide new storylines because maybe the initial one wasn't the best. Now, in most video games, you would never see Master Chief's face. However, in this Halo series, we do get a revelation of that, and I do think that the fact that we get to resonate with him on a human level, the emotional support and the emotional turmoil that he goes through in this series, it really makes it hard for you not to be attached to the character every single episode. But altogether, this show is really fun and it has a lot of Easter eggs or callbacks from previous games or previous references that really bring Halo to life. So for me, the rating for this series, although it initially was a huge disappointment, I think it's grown on me a little bit more. So I'm going to be giving it a 7 out of 10. Now, the final movie of this video is going to be Detective Pikachu. Very similar to Sonic in so many ways, but especially with the comedic values and how incredible the CGI, the animation, and the texture quality truly was. In terms of references, this movie, very similarly to Sonic, has paid the utmost respect to previous source materials and to the main franchise of Pokemon, specifically to obviously Pikachu. You don't even need to be a major Pokemon fan to understand some of the jokes, but then there are some moments where they make these references that only the diehard fans will be catered to. The major game changer for me in this movie is potentially the animations and the CGI. Very similar to Sonic in terms of the comedic values it has and what they share in terms of, I guess, catering the audience, but with this movie, it was simply stunning. The texturing, the color, the movement, everything was incredible, and it's so lifelike that it looks at the way that Pokemon would blend into the world. The movie is genuinely funny with a mix of dark humor, adult jokes, and also jokes for just the general public to laugh at, and of course, being voiced by Ryan Reynolds, Pikachu was bound to have a certain charm to him. However, unfortunately, the movie does suffer from final third syndrome, which is just basically a saying to claim that a movie is kind of slacking in the final tens of minutes compared to the rest. It really did seem like the movie was kind of drifting away from the whole idea that there was a major climax, and that is why for me, the similarities it shares with Sonic ends there. It is a great movie and I would recommend to watch it. However, with terms of a video game movie, it's more of a video game comedy. I'm going to be rating it a 6 out of 10. So guys, that is going to be the end of this video. As you know, there are so many projects that I haven't even covered, likes of Tomb Raider or even Assassin's Creed, and projects in development like a Minecraft movie I'm pretty sure is coming out, and even a God of War series which has insane potential. So we'll have to wait and see what the future of these video game movies are. I do love the concept of these games made for the console taking the big screen in theaters. However, I do wish they were executed a lot better, but Sonic is a light in the darkness. We'll have to wait and see, but for now, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below which one of these movies were your favorite.